Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. This one's going to be about some Zen Monkey studio updates. I haven't done a video on them in a while. Main reason for that is because I think a lot of their stuff over the last couple of months has been primarily like kind of limited edition convention exclusives, and they haven't been putting out a lot of new pins, but specifically new characters on pins. But they have, as of earlier on today, announced officially, like I think we knew this was coming, that they do a Day of Black Sun line of pins, but now they have like official, like what they look like. So here's half of them, 3 of the 6, and I'll show you the concept art stuff of what the other 3 are going to be. But anyway, first up we have Katara, who I think looks really nice. I think this looks so much so much better than the first Katara pin that they put out. It's in her book 3 design, which I always prefer to her like book 1 and 2 design, and it's a pretty nice pose. And you'll see the kind of key thing that's similar between all of these pins, given that they're the Day of Black Sun line, is that it is obviously the kind of eclipse happening in the background. That's what the kind of backing of the pin is, so that's pretty cool. The next one is Sokka in his full kind of warrior armor. Not as big of a fan of the pose here, just cause like the angle like obscures part of his face. They're going for more of a kind of action shot type thing with the characters here, so you can see that's why Sokka's sword kind of like bends like that, because it's meant to be a kind of in motion action shot. It's nice, I just don't think it's the kind of like best showcase of the character, but we'll get into that because we can discuss some of the concept art stuff behind these pins and address if they made the right choice based on the concept arts. And then last one that they're showing off for now is this Aang, and I think overall it looks solid, but again I think it's a little bit kind of wouldn't quite say ruined, but it doesn't appeal as much to me because of the kind of motion blur stuff that they're going for here. The action shot kind of obscures a decent amount of Aang's body, and I think makes the pin not as appealing because it's just kind of like this weird, like, you know, it's not one of the kind of shots of Aang you'd really kind of go for that really shows him properly. So I like the idea behind some of these pins, but I think in execution they don't work as well as you'd maybe expect. I prefer it to be kind of clearer, in that like, here's book 3 Aang, can we get a kind of clearer shot of him? But anyway, let's go into then showing off some of the concept art, where these came from. So of course this is from Angie Pants on Tumblr, who is the artist behind most of these Avatar pins. And you can see here a couple of months ago, back in August I believe it was, she posted some posts up on Tumblr with concept arts, rough sketches, for this Day of Black Sun line of pins. This is where we kind of first heard about it. So here are the different concept arts for Aang, as you can see here. Now, obviously the one they ended up going for is this one here. And I think, you know, they're all good. I can see why they didn't go for some of the other 3, because the staff is bent so much as like it's really excessive, and some of the way that it's done right at the ends could have been maybe tricky to do as a pin. But I still am the biggest fan of this one, just because there's this whole section here, like the staff basically takes up the full, like, I suppose, center of Aang, so you don't really get to see as much of the design as you would kind of want. The Katara one, they went for the first one here. This is the general idea of what the kind of one that we actually got looks like. But the other ones are actually quite good. I can see why they didn't go for this one, because it kind of is her hands covering up herself. Similarly with this one here, the angle isn't the best, so I think it was definitely between the top 2, and I can get why they did this one, but I think either would have worked. So that's that. Next up we have 2 of the characters that they didn't show off, but I get the impression that these 3 posts are the 6 characters that they were doing for this kind of pin set of pins. So they haven't announced it yet, but I think we are going to get a Zuko and an Azula, as well as a Toph, which I'll show off in the next post. So we already have an Azula pin, and we already have, I think, 1 or 2 Zuko pins. But this is Day of Black Sun Zuko, so of course he has to have his swords. It's interesting to decide like which one of these will they actually reveal as the kind of final product. The ones I like the best are probably, you know, I don't think this one probably will be it. It just doesn't seem the best. This is probably my favorite one here, just because I think it kind of fits the scene probably the best. But these two I think are just as good. I'd probably say it's probably going to be this one or this one that they do as the pin. I'd prefer it to be this one, but we'll see how they go, because again, part of the effect that they're going for on the actual final pins is that the character's sort of like offset on the pin backing, so that you can actually see the kind of eclipse happening. So that might kind of help, you know, to have a character like here where they can maybe have the offset kind of going off up here so you can see the effect. Or with Zuko here, you can have the offset for the eclipse going on in the background. This one seems kind of more central, and they might not have the space to cover to put it on the pin backing, but we'll see how they go. The Azula, as I talked about before, I'm not the biggest fan of the first Azula pin they did. It just seemed a little plain, and it didn't kind of really kind of at least appeal to me. These three all immediately seem better than the first one. To me, this is the one I would prefer, just because it feels like completely Azula. It's not overly specific, like her being really angry here, or that specific pose that she did in that time. So I think they'd get the best mileage out of this one, because I think it's like quintessential Azula. So I hope they do that one. Then we have Sokka, of course, and with the Sokka, they did this one. This is the one that they did, with his sword kind of coming across here. I think it's actually slightly different. Yeah, there's just some slight like angle changes, but for the most part it's the exact same pose with the sword coming across the back, kind of bending a little bit at the back. I get why they did it with the helmet on. I think that made sense. That's like him at his best, I suppose, during the finale. And again, I think a lot of the reason they didn't do the other ones is because the sword going crazy here wouldn't quite work with how bent it is, and if they were to just straighten it out, it would have made the pin too big, like, because the sword would be coming out like here or something like that, and then with this one it'd go way out over here. So this one seems the more like compact one to fit into like a circle. This one probably could have worked, but again, I think they wanted the helmet on. And then Toph is obviously going to be the other character. This is her with her kind of battle hat on, helmet. I don't think they'll do this one because you can't see her eyes. I don't think they'll do this one either. I think if they're going to do one of these, it probably will be this one. These four Tophs I'm not the biggest fan of. This one's to me fits the best, but we'll see what they do. I think if I had any kind of complaint about this, it would just be that, like, once again, we're not getting any new characters here. Like, Toph's already had a pin, Sokka's already had a pin, I had 2 pins actually, Katara's had a pin already, Aang's had multiple pins, and it's the same with the characters that they haven't shown off yet. Like, where's our Mei, where's our Ty Lee, where's our Kyoshi, Yang Chen, Avatar 1, Jinora, where are all these other characters who are, like, close to being main characters? Yet they're going over the exact same characters again, and I get it's them in their different outfits, and there's appeal to that, but can we get the other characters, you know, sooner rather than later, before we have, like, you know, 20 Aangs, 5 Zuko's? Can we, like, get, like, one of the other characters who are just as, you know, popular as well? But yeah, and then the only other main updates on their site in addition to the exclusives were that they did randomly, almost like out of nowhere, just put up Momo and Appa a while ago. I think the Appa looks really good. The Momo I think is perfectly fine for what it is, but I think Appa is the better character. So I can definitely see when they release these Day of Black Sun ones, probably picking up Appa and the new Katara as an order, just because obviously with international shipping and trying to avoid customs, I believe, like, I more or less get away with ordering 2 pins at a time. So Appa and Katara will probably be like 2 of the next pins that I get. But as I've said before, I am really waiting for, like, where's Wan? Like, you sort of like teased that, like, you had the artist working on Wan very early on, starting to do Avatar and Korra pins, and there's been no sign of him actually being released. Similarly, I think there's been a pretty big demand for Rava, and just kind of like the symbols in general of, like, the nation symbols. Where's the Order of the White Lotus symbol, Red Lotus symbol, those type of things. I think those are the type of pins that would do really well, yet they've only done them as part of these, like, exclusives. Like, if you want to get the Fire Nation symbol, you have to buy this full pin set, where again there's an Aang, a different Aang and a Zuko, there's Suki and Toph again, and the symbol. Like, put that symbol out on its own, and I think it'll do really well. And similarly with Rava and Vatu, where basically their character designs are more or less symbols, I think that they would work very, very well as pins. So that's what I'm kind of waiting for when it comes to these type of things. They have also, you know, started to put out these t-shirts. I noticed this. It's kind of foil t-shirts. I think a lot of the sizes are gone at this point, and I kind of held back on ordering it just because, you know, it probably would have got hit by customs if I'd ordered one of them. So there's this one, and then there's also a Korra one that is kind of similar, of like her kind of going to the Avatar state. So yeah, so in the comments, let me know what are your thoughts on these 3 new pins, but I suppose more or less the 6 new pins, like of the designs that Angipants posted on Tumblr. What do you think they're going to do for Toph, Zuko, and also Azula? And will you be picking up any of these? As I said, I think for sure I'll be getting this Katara, because I don't have a Katara pin yet. And then probably the Appa that they have up I will get as well. So that has been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.